Hi everyone, how have you all been? It's great to see all of you again. Oh, let's see, who's in the chat? G Gamer, great to see you. We've got someone new in the chat. It says Zaja. I hope I've said that right. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you enjoy this stream if this is your first stream. Crazy Cat Lady is here. We've got Trevor, Batman235, Khan is here again, always as always. Arathorn is here. Chris, Nanomator, the Time Shadow is here as well. Hi, bud. Cole is here. Oh, that's nice, Cole. He says, these streams always make my day. That's great. I appreciate that. We got Super Angry here. Goat is here as well. Fireboy is here. The Movie King 3000, Rohan. I've been doing good, Rohan. How about yourself? Jacinda is here. Oh, Deadwolf Production is here. Gamersaw. All the usual suspects are in the chat. Some of you aren't, but a lot of the majority of you seem to be. Let's see here. Chris is here as well. Ooh, Chris Thompson says, I got back from Mission Impossible a few hours back. Liked it, but a big step down from Dead Reckoning and Fallout. Just you wait until you hear my review when we talk about it. I'll let you know what I think. Trevor says, just got here in time. Just got back from my Pennsylvania vacation. Okay. Cool. I hope you enjoyed your vacation. Oh, Ethan's Drawing says, I just got a Steam Deck yesterday. Oh, cool. How's it going? Hope you're enjoying it. Mine is... I don't know if you can see it. My thumb is pointing at it right over there. That's where mine is. Eric, have you realized... Batman235 is saying this. Eric, have you realized that the Superman trailers have no songs or needle drops? Yes, I have. I've been aware of that, and I've been very happy about it. Let's see. It got close, though, at the beginning, when in the first trailer, when it had the electric guitar. That got kind of close. G1, I'm gonna have to put up my reactions to episodes 8 and 9 of Daredevil Born Again. But I had issues with it. Let's put it that way. That's a little tease I'll give you about it. G-Gamer says, by the way, in 20 minutes I'm going to go see the remake. I'll probably be back once you finish all the stories. Yeah, probably, because these streams are usually 2 hours, so that means probably by the time you get back, I think it will be over. I think the stream might be. But that's okay, we'll chat with you next week, or you can comment and I'll respond to you. Crazy Cat Lady says, how to deal with a copyright strike. I've been getting fewer views since it happened. You just got to make sure you get rid of the strike before you hit publish on the video. So you try to contact the companies that have done the strike, you try to do an appeal, you try to upload the video again but get rid of whatever they've copyright claimed and see if you can edit around it. You got to try all these different things in order for it to work. I Hate Anime says, Eric, you have a wife in the chat. I don't even know what that... Oh. I think I know who that is. I can't remember, but... I think I know who that is who says Eric Carter's wife. Because I've seen the thumbnail profile pic before. But I can't remember. Any of you guys can remember? Because I can't. Ethan's Drawing says, not just a Steam Deck OLED. Right now I'm installing EmuDeck. Oh, cool. Because I've got EmuDeck installed on mine as well. G-Gamer, they did not call back, so I'm going to have to try to call them again, but I've also been busy with other things as well. No, Eric does not have a wife right now. That's just, I don't know why. Someone's just named it that. Caleb says, Eric, I enjoyed Mission Impossible 8. What about you? You're going to have to wait for the review, aren't you? Batman235 says, oh god, we're coming close to you quitting YouTube. Here's the thing, I won't be quitting. I'll still be making videos, but it'll just be a lot less than usual. People on Patreon will still get videos there because, you know, they're paying, and I want to make sure that, you know, and some of the videos on Patreon, they don't take as long to edit, so that means I can get those out quicker to you. But, like I said, if it works out, then I can continue. So that's why I always say, share my videos as much as you can and let more people know about my channel. And yeah, if it all works out, then cool, we can continue. And I've been making a lot of videos lately. That's probably why you've been seeing less, like I said, I've been trying to work on the YouTube algorithm. I want to see what happens if I put more versus videos out. So I've got more versus videos. Today I edited and put in all the footage for the Snow White versus video. I've got to do some animations and things now. I've done a couple already. I'm very close to completing the Daredevil Born Again versus Daredevil versus video. That's right towards the end of completion. I've only got a couple things to add. So that's done. Snow White is getting done, and that will be a couple weeks from now. I'm going to upload Snow White because I'm going to attach that to a sponsorship that I've gotten. I'm also going to be working on the Lilo and Stitch versus video, which right now I'm writing the script. I've also am working on which other one was it? Oh yeah, I just did Final Destination, didn't I, recently? So yeah, that one got done. I also just did Sinners versus video. That got done. But it's not uploaded to you guys yet, so I'm going to have to put that up soon. And yeah, so there's a lot of videos that are in the works, basically, and you're going to get a ton of them, so don't worry. A lot of them are versus videos. That's why I've been taking longer to upload lately. Yeah, Gamer, so that is true about that. The copyright thing is weird. Khan, yeah, a sponsorship. It's actually to do with a projector, believe it or not, so something movie related on the channel. So yeah, that will be a sponsor. Then next month I'll put up a review for you guys of it. Cole says, I've heard mixed things so far about Mission Impossible 8, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Yeah, there have been more mixed reviews on Mission Impossible 8. Super Angry says, boy, when's that Sinners versus video actually coming out? I wish it came out earlier, because I got that video done. I was working so hard on that video, and I got it done just in time, so the movie was still new. But yeah, now they're just really messing around with what they're doing here. It's so frustrating. I'm really irritated that this is going on. Have you seen the second trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth? Yes, I have. Goats just asked that question. I have seen the trailer, and I just saw the trailer before I did this stream. I recorded my trailer reaction for Patreon and YouTube members. So that trailer reaction will be going up. So yeah, I have seen the trailer literally about 30 minutes ago for the first time. Like I said, I've been so busy that I just haven't got a chance to do it. Batman235 says, can people raise their hand if they want a Superman versus video in July? Yes, that is hopefully what I'm planning to do. So yeah, I didn't know there was a Daredevil versus video coming. Can't wait, says G1. Yeah, there is. I mentioned it, I think, on last week's live stream and the week before that. Yeah, I've been working on a Daredevil Born Again versus Netflix's Daredevil seasons 1, 2, and 3 versus video. And it's harder to edit versus videos of shows together. They take a lot. There's a lot more footage to go through. It takes a lot longer, and it's a lot longer to write those versus videos too. So hopefully that'll be good. Khan, I'm hoping that Lilo and Stitch can be the next versus video. I'm working very hard on that and another versus video, which I'm not telling you about yet. But I'm working very hard on trying to get those done next. So yeah, it is hopefully... Daredevil will come first. If Sinners gets released, this copyright claim, that will come as well. And then after that, what I'll do is... the Snow White versus video, which is coming. It will be released in about just over a couple of weeks. Patrons will get it early access to it, so you'll get extra early access to it. It'll be without the sponsor segment. But for everyone else, I've already arranged that to be the sponsor video for the company that is sponsoring me. So that's why that will happen there. But don't worry, that video is coming. But yeah, hopefully, if all goes well, you'll get the Lilo and Stitch versus video first before you get the Snow White video. So yeah, there's a lot of videos I've been working on for you guys. A lot of them versus videos. That's what I've really been like getting into more and more. Hopefully it can work out, and that can, you know, be a positive uptick, an uptick enough for my channel that I need to continue doing this full time. Which, like I said, your patronage and your YouTube memberships also really help a great deal. So thanks to everyone who can support in that way. Alright, Goat says, I'm watching Lilo and Stitch tomorrow and I'm pretty excited. Oh really? Okay, that's interesting. Crazy Cat Lady said, I removed the video and made the copyright part put clip in pieces so I wouldn't get another claim but not strike. So how do I get rid without telling my personal information? You need to write that again, Crazy Cat Lady, because that is a bit hard to understand. Write it again and I'll read it and I'll try to answer that question for you. But yeah, YouTube copyrights are insane. They really are. Did I ever see the Zootopia 2 teaser trailer? No, I didn't. I heard of it, but I didn't. So I've watched the, like I said, the Jurassic World, second trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth. After that, what I'm going to be doing is, the trailer reaction to Welcome to Derry. I've not seen that trailer, but I know it's come out. So you'll get both of those trailer reactions is what you'll get. So yeah, there's plenty of good stuff. Oh, Supersonic Adventures is here. So is Space Wolf. Welcome to the stream, guys. Great to see you here. Caleb is here as well. Khan says, obviously take your time, Eric, and maybe take a day off if you can. Yeah, I think I did a couple days ago because I wasn't feeling too well. I was feeling very tired that day. Like, just all the way, that entire day. So, yeah, I did try to take that day off. I did get some work done, but I still tried to take that day off. Some of it. Boy, who the hell is PD Tech HD? I see him in your YouTube homepage. PD Tech HD. He's an old friend of mine, he is. Back when I used to review technology on this channel, he was the one that I would always talk to. He was a friend of mine a friend that... oh, excuse me. A friend I made online with social media and Twitter at the time, before my Twitter got suspended. And as much as I contact Twitter, they don't respond back, which is annoying. Yeah, he was a friend of mine, he was, and yeah, I still haven't chatted to him in a while, but yeah, we helped each other. He promoted my channel on his channel, I promoted his on mine. It was something we did, and I just kind of kept it there ever since. Batman235 says, Eric, please read my comment about the Superman yelling thing. I can't see that comment here. Eric, if I could forbid you from watching a film, it would be Smurfs 2025. That film is to me is an abomination. I saw a trailer to that new Smurfs movie when I saw Lilo and Stitch the other day. That trailer came up for Smurfs. It looked terrible. It really did. Okay. Now, you guys know the rules. When it comes to these live streams, I'm not going to be answering anyone's questions. As I am doing the stories here, what I'm going to be doing is focusing on the story that I'm talking about. So if you guys want to ask me any questions, you want me to answer them immediately, what you got to do is just do a super chat or a Streamlabs chat, and both of those I've linked in the description, and I've also pinned a comment in the chat, which sends you to Streamlabs, where you do the donation, and all that donation goes to me, none of it goes to YouTube, and you can ask your question that way. Either way, if you do a Super Chat or a Streamlab chat, your name will pop up on the screen, and there'll be a nice nifty animation and sound effect. And the higher you donate, the more the animation changes and gets into something more and more special. So, like I say, donations, they always help support the channel, so I'm very much appreciated anytime you can do them. So, let me just get my notes ready, and we'll get into the Lilo and Stitch review. Goat, some of it goes to YouTube, because that's what YouTube tries to do to, get money, so they do that. They take a cut from the content creators. They do that all the time. So the Streamlabs way, 100% of it I get, and they get none of it. So if you could do it that way, that's the best way. But if you want to do it the Super Chat way, that is also perfectly fine. I'll leave it to you guys. That is entirely your choice. Okay. Immature and out of character because he yelled at Lois. Batman235, for me, it wasn't that much that he yelled at Lois, it was the performance. I thought that particular take, they should have gone with another take, I thought, when he yelled at Lois at that part. It just seemed like the acting was a bit off, he was off tone. So I think they should have had David Cornsweet have a different take when he says people could have died. When he said that, I wish it was a bit like people could have died. Like, that's what he did. I was like, it could have been better. I wish they would have done a better job of that, I think, personally. So that's what I think they could have done. I don't think there was a problem with it, like people are saying. I think they just need to give him a better take than what they gave him there. Killick is here. Ooh, Killick says, hey Eric, do you think we can get a possible It Chapter 3 as Pennywise origin? Maybe we could. Yeah, I'll think about that. That's a good idea. Oh, 10 Rex says I have to fly a plane, so I can't watch the whole thing. Oh, that's a shame, but it's okay, bud. We'll enjoy you while you're here. Moriarty, that's what people. Oh, because that's what people do, right? That's what people do. Yeah, that's funny. If so, what is your 3? My favorite Ice Age movie is still the first one, bud. The newer ones, I think it is 3 or 4. That is my favorite one. Okay, now where was it? Okay, I was just looking for another comment. I can't find it. It's all right. All right then, guys. We're gonna get to the review for Lilo and Stitch. And remember, if you want me to answer any of your questions, then you're gonna have to do a super chat or a Streamlabs chat. That way you'll get your questions answered immediately. Alright then, here we go. Lilo and Stitch. Now, you guys know I've not been looking forward to this because Disney have a reputation when it comes to these live-action remakes. They usually just don't care. They clearly don't care about the original movie, and they always screw it up. They take these iconic scenes and moments and characters, and they always find a way to mess them up, even though the animated movie is there, and it's the perfect blueprint for them. They can just copy and paste everything from there. But somehow they still end up screwing it up. It's like the people that make these remakes don't understand what made the original animated movie so popular. And unfortunately, that is exactly how Lilo and Stitch felt. This movie is, yeah, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's another bad Disney remake. It really, really is. But I would say there was something extra bad about this movie, whereas the other remakes feel like they were still big productions. You know, you could say the CGI was bad and everything. You could still tell money was put into it. But with Lilo and Stitch, there was not much money put into it. The budget for this is $100 million, which sounds like a lot. But if, in terms of the stuff we get, the special effects and everything, it felt like they were constantly limited by the budget. That's what it always felt like. Because Stitch was in it, but there were shots where he looked really, really bad. And then there were shots where he looked really good. Like the part in the movie where he crash lands and Lilo makes a wish, and then it cuts to the ship that he crash landed in, and he gets all happy and, you know, he does that evil laughter that he does. That they have that exact same scene in the live action remake, but it looks fake, which is shocking because it's basically a silhouette of Stitch. He's so covered in darkness, but the CGI and the way it moves, it looks like cheap CGI, like dirt cheap, like something from the CW. I was genuinely surprised by that. Now, here's another thing. The movie is, this goes back to the movie being a low budget. The movie is a low budget, and I know exactly why. This movie originally was supposed to be a straight-to-Disney Plus film. That's what this movie was supposed to be, but just like Moana 2, which was meant to be a straight-to-Disney Plus series, they ended up making it into a theatrical movie, and they released it in theaters. Except with Moana 2, they threw a bigger budget at it. This, though, it doesn't feel like they threw a bigger budget at it. It feels like whatever the budget was supposed to be for Disney Plus is the same budget that it was for theaters. And sadly, I looked at the box office today, the movie has made over $300 million worldwide, so they've made their money back. And apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal, it seems like, hi Big Bash, it seems like Disney want to go ahead and make a sequel already to this. And that is just, I think, atrocious. And I don't understand, it seems like there's a lot of people that actually like this movie, but I thought that this movie was just, it was so bad. Everything from his production, and not only his production, but this is where we talk about the real issues here. The story. The story for this movie, I've said this about all the previous Disney remakes, if you watch my Versus videos, I always say, how is it that these live-action Disney remakes are longer than the original animated movies, yet they feel so rushed, like they're just rushing past? all the scenes in the animated movie, which felt like where the animated movie feel like it would take its time with scenes, the scenes in the live action remakes would always feel like they were just rushing through them despite having a much longer runtime. And Lilo and Stitch does it like no other Disney remake. Like seriously, the whole opening sequence where Stitch is introduced on the ship at the beginning of the film, in the animated movie he has a reveal. And in this one, he doesn't have a reveal. They just show him like that. There is no lead-in, no build-up, no anticipation for that we're finally going to see Stitch on the big screen. They just show him. And the dialogue that the alien, the councilwoman is basically seeking... Was it councilwoman? I can't remember. The alien woman, basically, at the beginning, what she was saying, she was just rushing through the dialogue. Like the bit when she says to Stitch, say, experiment 626, say something, like, tell us about yourself or something. And then he says something really horrendous, which gets them all to be shocked by what he says. In the animated movie, she's like, so naughty. Like, she's really expressive and disgusted with what he said. There's a lot of expression in her voice. In this one, she's like, when he says that thing that he says, she says, so naughty. Lock him up. And that's literally what it is. Like, just like that. There's no big reaction from everyone. Everyone reacts, but it just feels like there's no impact to people's reactions. And that's the thing throughout this whole movie. There is no real impact. So I thought that everything was just on fast forward. And surprisingly, they brought the original voice actor back to voice Stitch, which is really good. But it feels like at some points they went to the original animated movie and they just copied and pasted the dialogue that Stitch had in that film and pasted it in here. So when he says that horrendous thing at the very beginning of the movie that causes everyone to react, it's basically a copy and paste of the exact same line from the original animated film. And I thought that was just ridiculous that they did that. I was like, wow, that is... Talk about lazy right there, that they couldn't even record him saying that line. They had to copy and paste it from the other. That was so weird. Now, we also... So yeah, the story I thought was rushed. But another problem is the editing. The editing in this movie, I don't even know what to say. It's like, how's the best way to describe the editing? Okay, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but the editing for Lilo and Stitch felt just like the editing in the movie Kraven the Hunter, where the editing was very, choppy. It was very, it felt like it was on fast forward, like scenes were being skipped. That's kind of what it felt like here. Scenes were going from one scene to the next so quickly. Even when we get to the scenes like Lilo and Nani, when they're both arguing at the beginning of the movie, when the social worker arrives. When the social worker leaves, and then they start Nani starts running after Lilo. It was hilarious in the animated movie, and there was it was well paced. And the dialogue when they yell at each other, when she yells, go to your room and everything, it seems, again, real. Like, this is how real sisters would talk. In this version, though, sadly, their performance during a scene like that, not only is it just chopped up in the editing room to bits, and it's so messy, but it's so quick. There is she runs after her, she tells her, don't you know what it means if they take you away? And then instantly it's like, go to your room. It's literally like that. She doesn't yell at her like she does in the animated movie. It's like, go to your room. And then she's like, I'm already in my room. And then that's it. And then they scream in the pillow, but it felt like they were just imitating, very poorly imitating the animated movie, but it didn't feel like they were actually living the animated movie, if you know what I mean. It didn't feel like they were living those emotions. They were just quickly imitating them, and then we went to the next scene. This movie feels like it's just so much on fast forward that you don't really get to just sit and spend time with the characters. You're just jumping from one scene to the next, because the movie is rapidly trying to say, alright, we're going to quickly remake this scene, then we're going to quickly remake this scene, then we're going to quickly remake this scene. You're not able to emotionally connect to this movie because it's just so much on fast forward. So yes, the editing is terrible, and it was so manic, incredibly manic. And I gotta say, there was only so much of this I could take. Halfway through the movie, I wanted it to stop. Seriously, I had enough. I was like, this is it. I can't take it anymore. I genuinely, guys, I wanted it to stop, and it just wasn't. The movie had half a movie to go. So that was very disappointing. I don't like how they handle the sisters. I will say, the little actress that plays Lilo, she is actually pretty good. I feel like if they had a competent production here and a director that actually knew how to direct her properly, but then again, is it even the director's fault or is it Disney's fault? I don't know. But I feel like the little actress playing Lilo, I thought she did a good job. As like if this was a better movie, she would have done a really good job in this. I have no doubt about that. The actress playing Nani, on the other hand, I never saw her as Lilo's sister. She really did just come across as like a moody mother. And moody is the operative word, because every scene this Nani is in, she's constantly complaining, whining, always going on that she can't get a job. That's what she's always like struggling with in this. And I understand that Nani was like struggling to get a job, but the thing is, Nani was struggling to get a job in the animated movie. But here's the thing. The reason she was trying to get a job was so she could show the social worker that she is responsible enough to look after Lilo. That was the big reason. But here it feels more like she's just trying to get a job rather than show us why she's trying to get a job. It's like, no, she's just trying to get a job, and that's why when Lilo tries to show her, look what Stitch can do when she opens his mouth and puts his nail on the record. Nani is not even paying attention to it. In the animated movie, she was paying attention, and she kind of just looked at it like, what the hell? Like, it was countless scenes of her just reacting to Stitch and how weird he is. But you don't really get that in this version. Nani never reacts to Stitch. She says that he's essentially a menace, he's causing a lot of destruction and all that. But she never reacts like at one point she's on the phone saying that whenever he's looking at me, it seems like he's about to eat me and stuff. That feeling and vibe is not in this movie. And that is a shame, because this stuff, it's important development for her relationship with Stitch, because essentially by the end of it, they all come to like Stitch. So you have to see this development, this gradual progression and development with Stitch. But sadly, you just don't see it. And I was really disappointed with that. I did take issue. Adam Grunther has popped into the chat, and he says, "It is not the director's fault. The guy is a phenomenal director. The more I see these films, the more I realize that they are hit with so much studio meddling." You are absolutely right. That's what I said. I was like, I don't know if I can even blame the director for this. As of right now, I've not looked at this director's other work. That's what I'm going to have to do for the Versus video. But yeah, I said this. I can't blame. It's like with Mark Webb with Snow White. I can't really blame him for that either. He's proved himself as a director. But this most likely is Disney's studio meddling, and I have no problem in believing that. But yeah, it's just, this movie is so manic and all over the place. It's chopped up and edited to shit. You have actors that feel miscast, and their performances is on par with a school play. When Lilo and her sister are both arguing with each other, it genuinely comes across like acting performance you'd get from a school play. When she says, in the animated movie, like I said, when she yells, "Go to your room," to Lilo, she yells at the top of her lungs. But in the live action remake, she's like, "Go to your room." Like, it was just, there was no feeling of legitimacy to any of this. So that was a big issue to me. Again, the performances were really quite bad in this. Now, oh, hi Manola, great to see you could join. So yeah, the tragedy. Now, this is where we get to Leela. Like I said, that the little actress playing her, I thought did a very good job. Even though it's hard to really tell because her performance is chopped up in the editing room, I thought she was very good. The problem, however, is that even though she's a very good little actress, and I think she could play Lilo, Lilo in the animated movie has a lot of like round features to her face. She's got a very round face, and this little girl has those round features, so she even looked like Lilo, I'd say. The problem is that Lilo in the animated movie, she was struggling and going through essentially like depression with her parents having died in a car crash. That her trauma was very obviously there. But here, it feels much more like she's a free-spirited little girl, but she's also a troublemaker. But it doesn't feel like it's connected to her tragedy anymore. It just feels like she's a troublemaker because the movie wants her to be a troublemaker, and they want her to be a free spirit. Like, at one point, she lets a bunch of chickens out from one guy's farm, and she goes, "Be free." And I'm like, what is this? This makes no sense. The whole thing that she did with Pudge the fish, when she wanted to give him a sandwich in the animated movie, that was so funny, because it just shows how little kids do. They get really worked up over things that just don't really matter. But she really got worked up over it, and then she got violent over it when people called her crazy. She's a little brat, but you can see where she's coming from. That's what's so cool about it. But here, all that nuance is gone. It feels like they're not focusing so much on the tragedy behind Lilo, as much as they are focusing on like just the laughs, the things that they think will get the cheap laughs for kids. That's what they're focusing on, and I thought that was a real shame to me. That really was. Give me a second here. So yeah, that was a shame to me, I thought. Now, before we continue, Zala here has given a 5... Is that a €5, I think? A €5 super chat. Thank you very, very much. She says, your videos and streams are awesome. By the way, my name is Green Tea. It's just in Latvian anyway. Anyway, keep up the good work. Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot very much for that. I'm gonna call this... Okay, I wish I had a nickname for you. But thanks a lot for that, Green Tea. I appreciate that. People like you is the reason I make these videos. I love that you guys enjoy them, and I'm glad you enjoy these live streams, so thank you very much. Alright, now, we've talked about Lilo, and the fact that they don't focus on her trauma, which I think is a big issue. That's part of the heart of the movie. Now, they have a similar issue with Stitch. Now, Stitch is just a walking gag machine in this. Like, seriously, he is. It's like Disney did not know why people love Stitch, so they thought, oh, he's essentially an anarchist. He likes to go around destroying things, causing as much damage as he can and as much trouble as he can. So they tried to delve into... So they really tried to spend a lot of time of him doing that, and the original scenes they create is just original scenes of him causing more, destruction, or doing a gag, like drinking from that light lamp and stuff. So it's like, that's the kind of stuff they do. But sadly... they take out the drama that Stitch had. I did not know this until I watched the animated movie just recently, because I've not seen it in years. But Stitch actually has a lot of drama himself. The scene where he is showing Lilo the book about the ugly duckling, and how Lilo tells him the story about it, and he feels like he relates to the ugly duckling, how the ugly duckling is on its own, it has no family, and then it's in the woods. It says, I'm lost, and then its parents and family come and find it, and then, it goes away all happy. Stitch takes that to heart in the animated movie, and he sees that, and he's like, I want that, and he also feels lost. So he wants that feeling of a family. So the saddest part is when he leaves Lilo, thinking that he's going to go find a family, and he goes into the woods, has the book with him, and just like the ugly duckling, he looks at it and thinks, okay, I'm going to do what the ugly duckling did, and he says, I'm lost. And he says that a few times in the woods in the animated movie, and then in his mind, I never knew this as a kid, but in his mind, he's waiting for someone to come and a family to come and take him away, like the ugly duckling in the book. That's what he wants. But it's so sad when you see that it doesn't happen, and we just we just have a soft fade to black, and he stays there all night. And the next morning, guess who shows up? It is technically his family, but someone he didn't see as family. It was a Jumba. He saw his creator there. And that was not the visit that he wanted, basically. But basically, that was a sad scene. That's what people love about Lilo and Stitch. It's on the surface, it might seem like it's just a bunch of, buffoonery going around. But really, there is a lot of heart, and there's a lot of nuance going on. And sadly, this movie does not include that. This movie takes all of that out and somehow ends up being longer, and it tries to add some moments of heart at the end, but it's just none of that heart that they tried to add comes close to the heart that the animated movie added. So I'm looking at this movie as I'm watching it, I'm like, again, you had a perfect template over there to copy and paste from with the original movie, but it didn't do it. Why would it cut that scene out? And that's why I said I do genuinely think that Disney do not understand why Lilo and Stitch is so popular. It's why the only thing we see is Lilo and Stitch causing a lot of mayhem. But they've taken the nuance out, they've taken the emotion out, the substance out. And because of that, I couldn't help but feel like, while I was watching this the whole time, that they took the heart and soul out of this film. Which is what a lot of these Disney remakes do. But this one was actually worse because... again, the budget was lower. And because the budget was lower, that means we had to get a bunch of other shit in here too. One of those other things that we got was Jumba and... Hold on. Jumba and... oh, I always get his name wrong. Plekeley, that was it. I was calling Peakley, but Plekeley. Jumba and Plekeley, we get them in the movie, and they were so bad. And you could have completely cut them out of the entire movie, and the film would be no different. It really is surprising. Now, Jumba was completely miscast. They cast Zach Galifianakis. I hope I said that name right. And the guy, he can be funny if you look him up on YouTube. There are some funny clips I've seen of him on TikTok or Instagram. And the guy can be funny when he's with celebrities and stuff, and he's like trying to insult them. It's usually comedy bits that they're doing. But here, his voice is completely miscast for Jumba, and he was not at all funny. There was nothing he said that I found to be funny. And then... and Jumba is actually... They take away Captain Gantu from the original movie because they can't afford him. That's the reason they take him out. And sadly, instead of giving us Captain Gantu, I was like, Captain Gantu is technically supposed to be the villain of the film in a way. Like, you're the one that goes after him by the end. But if he's not here, then who are you going to do? Who are you going to bring in? And, well, they have Jumba be the bad guy. So, yeah, Jumba is the villain in this one. Didn't you always want to see that? I mean, I applaud them for trying something different, but it just didn't work, dude. It just really didn't. It straight up didn't. And also, we have Billy Magnuson, who plays Plekeley. And Plekeley, before, he was a goofball, but at the same time, it's like he was very much taking things seriously. In this version, Plekeley is like just... He couldn't be more comic relief if you tried. Every single scene with him is a complete and utter... Like, it's like a parody. It's like there's no... You can't take anything that he says seriously. And in the original movie, you laugh a lot. Everything he says is funny, but when it comes to him speaking to the Admiral woman of theirs, he... What was her name? I call her the Admiral woman. Let's find her name. The Grand Council woman. When he speaks to the Grand Council woman, he was always terrified in the animated movie. He was afraid of answering the call because they'd never found Stitch, which was what she was going to ask him for. But here, he's always got a big dumbass smile on his face, and Jumba tells him, no, don't answer it. And he's like, yeah, there you go. And then he goes, oh, hi, how are you, Grand Admiral woman? You know, it's like, Grand Council woman. And it's like, how could you take him and turn him this goofy? Also, I swear they're trying to play him up as being gay, but that just took his goofiness and combined it with flamboyance, and that made him a whole other level of goofy. His performance was just so weird, dude. It really was. It was so flamboyant and over the top that I was looking at him and thinking, dude, what the hell are you doing? Like, this was embarrassing. And Billy Magnuson, he can be funny. I've seen him in some funny movies in the past, but here, he was just awful, man. Like, atrociously bad. Oh, so, yeah, that was... All of this stuff, it was weighing down on me when I was watching the movie. I was like, this is not good. It's like, again, it was giving me that feeling of feeling low and being a bit depressed watching this. It made me want to go back and watch the animated movie, even though I watched the animated movie the same day I saw this remake. It made me want to go back and watch the animated movie again. So, yeah, Jumba and Plekeley, they did not work. You could have cut them out of the entire movie and brought Jumba in right at the end if you wanted to, and I think, honestly, you could have even cut him out altogether. You didn't need it. Also, because the budget is so low, there is no big action set pieces. Like, there is one with like, a portal gun, but it's nowhere near as exciting as the big battle at the end of the first movie, where Stitch was pulling out a car and whacking Jumbo with it and stuff. And then she's like, oh good, oh good, my dog found the chainsaw. Like, that stuff was so funny in the original one, and yeah, that level of joy is just not found in this remake. It really is sad, it really is. Big Bash says, thoughts on Plekeley not cross-dressing? Honestly, like I said, the movie was just at such a fast pace that was the least of my problems. I was like, because you can't complain about them cross-dressing, because for most of the movie, they give them a human form where they don't have to animate them, they don't have to put in the CGI aliens that they are. So for the most part, I was like, the whole time, I was like, okay, they're in disguises, clearly, but they just don't want to pay for the CGI. Again, it comes down to that budget being too low for what this kind of movie is. I can't believe they took something as beloved as Lilo and Stitch and made it so low budget to the point it actually affects the sequences that we get. And yeah, a smart movie would have made Jumba and Plekeley work in the film, but sadly, this movie is not smart and it did not make them work. So yeah, and like I said, Nani was also just a complete... Nani was like a complete bore in this. She was so moody. She was so moody, and that tenderness between her and Leela was never there. So, there is just... Now, guys, bear in mind, this is me trying to be coherent, but my mind was like just exploding with so many issues and problems with this film, because there's just countless issues with it. Lilo being a violent kid, like at the beginning when she punched and bashed one of her schoolmates. In here, it just doesn't feel like it's anywhere near that level. She pushes a girl, kind of like how Kevin pushed his brother in Home Alone 2. But that's basically it. It's like, what happened to the punching and stuff? I was like, wow, like in the animated movie, they showed, it felt real. Like, if a girl was to fight someone, that's what she would do. It's like, jump on her, and then she even bit her. They took that out, and it just shows this movie. The animated movie from 20 plus years ago is more mature and more edgy than the live action version from 20 plus years later. Let that sink in. Also, the animated movie does not insult your intelligence. It actually treats you with respect. Like I remember at the beginning of the movie when the Grand Councilwoman says that, what's that over there? And then he goes, water. Most of the planet is covered with it. Then she goes, he won't survive in water. His molecular density is too great, or something like that. And then they look at the map and she's like, no. And then she's like, of course. Like he lands on land. Basically, what she does here, and this is how it insults your intelligence, is that when she goes, he won't survive in water. His molecular structure is too great. And then there comes a scene where they're looking and they're like, is that good or what? And then she goes, he'll fall and drown. And then they're like, oh, like that. I was like, that is a lazy way of trying to tell the audience exactly what's going to happen. But the thing is, we kind of got that as an audience when we saw the animated movie 20 plus years ago. I was about to... Here, get this. Eric at the time, me, I was 7 years old when the first Lilo and Stitch came out. I was so young. And when she said, I did not understand when the Grand Councilwoman says his molecular structure is too great, but I did understand when she goes, he won't survive in water. That I understood. But for some reason, Disney think, nah, you know what? We don't think you really understand enough. I think we can still dumb it down for you idiots. So yeah, this movie insults your intelligence, and that's just one of the scenes where it insults your intelligence. There are plenty more as it goes. So yeah, this was so shocking. It really was. I am surprised that Lilo and Stitch was as bad as it was. Because you saw me review Snow White, and I said Snow White did not anger me like some of the other remakes. This one angered me, guys. This one did. It got me irritated. I was like, how can you be so cheap and lazy and not give a shit with something as beloved as Lilo and Stitch, which has sold... I think Lilo and Stitch sold like was it millions or was it $1 billion or something in merchandise? Like it was something insane, some insane number. And this is how they treat it? There is no love or heart in this movie. It's just, it very much felt like a product, and it felt like it was rushing to get to the very end as soon as it started. Do you know the scene at the beginning of the movie where Stitch breaks out and you see his whole escape? They cut the whole escape out. He just spits on the guard's hat, the guns shoot, and then that's it. They just say he's out on a ship now. In the animated movie, he broke out, and then he had to take the cuffs that they put on him, and he had to block the gunshots from those machines. And also, he was playing with the guns at first. He dropped his spit down a little bit, and then he spat on the floor where the guns started shooting. Then he spat on the guard's head. Here, he just spits on the guard's head immediately. I was like, this is ridiculous. How is it the animated movie is so much more intelligently structured than this live-action movie, which apparently Hollywood and Disney seem to think is... the movie's not truly legitimate until it's live action. There's that common misconception that goes around. It is a stupid conception. You don't need to make something live action in order to make it legitimate. It is already legitimate in animation, and this movie is proof of that. So yeah, I hated this Lilo and Stitch movie. I really did not like it, and when I came out of it, I was like, When I came out of it, sorry, I was just reading a comment there. And when I came out of it, I was like, what a waste, what a waste. And I can't believe I came to the cinema at 10:45 in the evening, and I'm leaving at about 1 in the morning to see this piece of shit. And I also can't believe that this movie is actually making a ton of money at the box office. Apparently, I think it's already made their money back for Disney, essentially, or close enough to making their money back. So, sadly, this was a success for Disney, and I don't like that it was a success. That is just... what the hell, man? Seriously. So, yeah, this movie gets a 2 out of 10 from me. We'll see if it changes. We'll see if it changes when my Versus video comes out. I might find something more to appreciate. But as it stands, I can't really appreciate anything. The only thing I can say is that Stitch looks cool. But in a lot of scenes, though, he also looks fake. But he was the best effect in the movie. There was one action scene regarding portals. Oh, wow, just started pouring rain. A portal gun, that was kind of cool. But overall, there was really nothing else in there that I liked. Again, the little actress playing Leela was very good, but you wouldn't know it watching the movie, you know, because it's edited to shit, but you could see that she's doing a good job. But yeah, the movie itself, what a clusterfuck, what a train wreck this was. So yeah, does anyone have any questions about this movie? Has anyone who's watching seen this movie yet? Or are you going to see it? The live action one I'm talking. Hi Jess, great to see you, bud. Big Bash says, sadly, the audiences are too easy on Disney. Yeah, because I've seen a lot of good reviews from it, which I don't know how you can get good reviews from this if you've even seen the animated movie. I don't know how you can like the animated movie and proclaim that you love it and then go and watch this and say that I love this too, because it is just, like, atrociously bad. I'm telling you, it's like it just rushes through all the best stuff. I don't understand why they keep doing that. Rowan says, that's very harsh of you, Eric. You're saying this is worse than the previous Disney remakes you watched. I'm sure I've given some Disney remakes a 1. Maybe it's because I've just watched this movie new and I'm annoyed at it. That's why I always say, stay tuned for my Versus videos. That's when I'm more level-headed or where I've had time to reflect. But I'm pretty sure that 2 out of 10 is a rating that this deserves. I'm pretty certain on that. Oh, excuse me. The Logman says, haven't seen it, don't plan on seeing it, but I did see Final Destination 6, which was good. Oh, okay, cool. Cole says, I'll probably never watch this. Yeah, you're not missing out on nothing, bud, so yeah, don't if you don't want to. Fireboy says, wow, Eric, this is very hush. I think you mean harsh. Ethan's drawing says, also bless you, and so does Green Tea. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. This is just another live-action remake because it has no charm and energy as the original. Yeah, I agree, Jess. Mihir, I hope I'm saying your name right. I've not seen the Cinderella remake from beginning to end. I've only seen clips of it. Oh, don't worry about that, Big Bash, that you're in a different state and you came at a different time. Don't worry. Everyone in this live stream comes at a different time. Oh, no says, me and my sisters are planning to see this movie. Oh, really? Well, just know what you're getting into. The movie is very, very rushed, and it doesn't really take the emotional elements from the animated movie and bring them in. It tries to incorporate some emotional moments of its own, but they just... when the movie prior was so bad, those emotional moments just don't really work. Khan, there's... I understand what you mean, like, do you even need to see the Versus video when you know I'm going to trash it? But the thing is, you're getting an early peek on this live stream. I was actually considering if I should even review it on this live stream at first. But there'll be a lot of people out there that have not seen this review, and the Versus video will be the one that they'll see. So hopefully, if I get it out quick enough, there'll be value to it. Caleb says, what is your favorite Disney animated movie? Mine is Mulan. Mulan I love. But my favorite Disney movie is Beauty and the Beast. I think that one is perfect from beginning to end. But I also love Mulan as well. I do love Mulan. Mulan is amazing. That we watched that so many times too. The Emperor's New Groove is another great one, which was really good. I've been meaning to watch Treasure Planet for a while now, and I've got a projector, so I want to see it on the projector. And I've got a projector coming soon as well for the sponsorship video, for the Snow White video, and I want to see it on that too. Oh, Big Bash is saying, unrelated, I started watching Clone Wars. I'm already halfway done through Season 2. Clone Wars is awesome so far. Bro, you don't even know how good it gets. Season 3 is where people say it starts to get really good, and then it just keeps getting better and better from there. So if you're enjoying it now, that's great, because you are really going to enjoy it once you start getting to Season 3 and 4 and all of that. And you'll be surprised at how dark it gets, too. Chris says, Eric, why do Disney remakes always have such talented directors and casts, yet always end up mediocre or bad? It's probably because Disney are in control of it. You can tell that these directors are not being handed full control over this, and Disney are basically controlling them. Kind of like how Sony controls the directors who make those spin-off Spider-Man movies, those villain movies. But, yeah, it's kind of one of those situations. So, yeah. But at the same time, even if those directors did have it, I don't know what they could do to make it better. I don't know what they would do. That's something I'm curious about. But Disney are trying to make these very corporate, these movies. They're trying to make sure that it appeals to people with nostalgia, but they're trying to update it. But at the same time, it's clear they don't understand their own product. And it made a lot of people just fed up with these Disney remakes because of that. Disney just do not understand their own products. It's like, how can Disney, who keep going on about how they value the stories that they make at Disney, how could they just not care? Like, it's clear they don't care. They say we do care, they don't. It's very clear. Just look at what they did with Snow White. That was supposed to be the movie that basically started their whole frickin' company. And they were like, yeah, let's take those dwarves out, even though they literally hold up their buildings. Like, they've actually got a building at Disney where the dwarves are holding up the pillars. And they said, you're going to take them out. It's ridiculous. So yeah, it's all to do with Disney. Khan says, no kidding, Eric. Clone Wars really does get better, especially at Season 7, which I'm going to watch eventually. You mean you're going to rewatch eventually? Because you're saying if it gets better at Season 7, I'm assuming you've seen it. Killick says, I have no plans for watching this. I haven't even watched the other remakes. Yeah, you're the lucky one then. You are. You really are. The Jungle Book is the best live-action remake, and at this point, I don't think it's going to be topped. Yeah, I thought The Jungle Book was decent, but then again, I've not seen the original Jungle Book, so who knows, maybe that's why. But it felt like it was actually made, like, whatever they were trying to do, it felt like it was done well. Like, no, it wasn't amazing. I don't think it was amazing, but I thought it was watchable. I didn't think it was great either. But it was watchable, definitely. Yeah, Chris, the middle arc of Season 7 wasn't particularly good. If you watch my Let's Binge Watch the Clone Wars video, you'll see I wasn't too fond of that either. Khan says, don't give Disney any ideas for potential remakes. Yeah, I know, right? I shouldn't. But I'm sure they're going to stop themselves. They cancelled the Tangled Disney remake because of Snow White's flop. And the fact that people are just getting sick and tired of these remakes. Which is the worst, Lilo and Stitch or Snow White, says Fireboy. Ooh. Ooh, that's a good one, isn't it? Right now, I'm going to say Lilo and Stitch. But I need to think about that one more. I think I do have to think on that one more. So, yeah. Let's hope people don't call Superman woke because he was involved with a war in Barovia, and that is in the comics. Barovia is in the comics. Originally, they were meant to be, in the Superman movie, they were meant to be having a commentary on the Middle East, you know, and the situation going on there, but then they took it out. So, yeah, now they've changed it. Big Bash says, some kills have me surprised, Eric, like Count Dooku force choking someone and making them shoot their friend and killing that person in return. Yeah, I know. Again, you've not seen nothing yet. They get darker too. Like, some of the deaths get really dark. One you don't even see, but it's with a stormtrooper, and to this day I remember it still messes me up thinking about it. I'm like, that is brutal. Goat says I might not even watch it. Yeah, if you're curious, then maybe on streaming on Disney Plus, just scroll through it and then just stop after you've gotten sick and tired of it. But I don't see why people would watch this in the theaters. I mean, seriously. I have never seen a live-action remake, says Goat. Good for you, bud. So this isn't new. No, it's not new. Adam Grunther says Lilo and Stitch was at least shot on location. Yeah, but that's another thing. The way the movie was shot, there was no creative camera angles. Everything felt like it was just shot at a very flat angle. Like, there was no creative camera angles or creative cinematography. And some of the sets just felt like sets. So, yeah, you can tell this was basically a straight-to-Disney Plus movie. It was meant to be a straight-to-video movie, essentially, and they released it in theaters, and they're charging people for it, which, honestly, to me, that comes across as a scam. When they're making something that was designed for the small screen, but then they throw it on the big screen and they charge you and your family, like, what was it, $10 a ticket or something? It's insane. That really is a scam, that movie. Fraser says, out of all the remakes, this seems to be the most cringy. It may be worse than the Lion King remake. I don't know how you can be worse than the Lion King remake. What score did I give that? Did I give that a 1, did I? Adam says, and no, that's not me defending it. I'm just saying. Snow White had the budget and is way more lazy. I at least feel sympathy for the director with Lilo and Stitch. Yeah, me feeling sympathy for the director is not something that it contributes to my thoughts on the film itself. But the reason why I would say Lilo and Stitch was worse from when I saw it, which I wonder, have you seen Lilo and Stitch, Adam Grunther, this one? But for me, Lilo and what was it? No, Snow White at least had a good song or two in there, where I was like, I had fun with that. Or there was a little spark between Lilo and the prince, well, the not prince, when they met. Like, there are little things like that where I'm like, okay, those are something to pull from. But with Lilo and Stitch, it was there was like nothing. I can't really think of anything, like, aside from the couple things I've mentioned, I can't really think of any good stuff about it. So yeah, that was a big issue for me. Adam says, yes, it's terrible, but I never had an attachment to the original, so maybe that's why I'm not as angry with it. Yeah, maybe that very much could be the case as well. Yes, City of Ember, there will be a versus video with Lilo and Stitch and the original. Goat says, I only watched the first episode of The Clone Wars and I thought it was mid. The first episode of Clone Wars is cool because it shows a really good understanding and adds a really good idea to the clones, which is when Yoda says that the clones, the first episode of The Clone Wars, when he goes, take off your helmets when they're camping in a cave, and they go, there's not much to see here, sir, we're all the same. We're all clones. And then he goes, you're not the same. And then Yoda, in his own way, says basically that they're not the same, that they might have been born the same, and bred the same, but ultimately their different experiences have made them unique, made them different individual people. That was such a good idea to me, and I loved when they showed that. I was like, wow, you actually made the clones different as people, have personality. So I loved that. I thought that was so cool. And Clone Wars gives you plenty of more great ideas like that, and then as it goes, it gets darker and darker, and the stories get more sophisticated and adult. Like, seriously, they get adult. And the violence, it gets super violent as it goes. And the death count and the body count, it just goes so much higher. So trust me, it gets a lot better as it goes. Adam says, I do recommend Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. It's by the director of this movie. In terms of a heartfelt movie, it makes this film look like a joke. Or I guess more of a joke. Yeah, you're right, more of a joke, yeah. I'm sure that the director did do a great job. I'm sure he would. Or, I'm sorry, I'm sure he did. But when it comes to Disney, you're basically there just as a name, or just someone for the studio to control. Wild Dolph, welcome! And we've also got Danny George. These seem to be two new people that have joined the live stream, so welcome. I hope you guys enjoy the stream. Danny says, the relationship between the sisters in the original is brilliant, even by old Disney standards. I love how it portrays life realistically. Yeah, exactly. Me too. I like that as well. But sadly, in this movie, the way it portrays their relationship, it feels like a school play. Yeah. Uh, oh, that's all right. That's all right, Time Shadow. You don't have to worry. I didn't need a response. I thought as long as you were updated by that email, that was okay. Adam says Guy Ritchie and Jon Favreau are both phenomenal directors, and the remakes they directed are atrocious. Sometimes, just something just doesn't add. Something just doesn't add up. I don't think those movies are actually even their movies. Jon Favreau, I think it is his movie because he has more of a pull with the studio. But yeah, I don't know about so much about Guy Ritchie either. Um, where is it? Wide Dolph says, I've actually watched this channel for years, ever since the Jurassic World versus Jurassic versus Fallen Kingdom comparison. Oh, really? Oh, wow, I didn't know that video got much more people in. Wow. Oh, well, I'm glad you enjoyed the video, and thank you for subscribing after all this time. Uh, do come to more of the live streams if you can, and comment more. I always love seeing as much of my viewers as I can during these live streams. It's where I get a chance to bond with all of you and really get to, like, you know, talk to you guys. So please be sure to join another live stream. I'd love to have all of you. Let's see. Adam, I never did see the Lilo and Stitch sequels, but I did watch some episodes of the TV show when I was a kid, and I really enjoyed that. Mandalorian is not one that I would rush to recommend people to watch. That's entirely up to them. But I would recommend the Clone Wars. That's the one that I would always rush to recommend to people. Because it is amazing. It really is. It's my favorite Star Wars thing. Electrify. Oh, hi, buddy. He says, how was Lilo and Stitch, and what score did you give it? I thought it was very bad. Everything from the story, which was super rushed more than the previous remakes, the characters, which felt like they were also rushed, and the tragedy had been taken away from them that was in the animated movie. And I also thought that the aliens weren't done well either. And in the end, I gave it a 2 out of 10. As always, my score could change in the Versus video, but that's the score that I gave it when I was watching, well, right now at least. So, yeah. And Super Angry, I've heard of that there's a Lilo and Stitch anime. I've not seen anything of that, though, but I've heard about it. Interesting. Khan, I don't know how to answer that question. How would I rank each season of the Clone Wars? I don't know how to answer that question. I need to watch the seasons again. It's been a while. Adam says, what brought it up to a 2 even? What brought it up to a 2 was I thought Stitch's CG was good. That's not something I normally give praise for, but I did think it was pretty cool. There was bad CGI he had in the movie as well, but that was cool. I thought that there was a somewhat creative action sequence regarding portals, which I thought was pretty cool. And there was something that they tried to do emotionally with the climax with Stitch. It wasn't a good replacement for what the animated movie had, but it was half good, I thought. So I was like, because of that, there's a 2 there. There's a couple of other things as well, but I can't remember them off the top of my head right now. But Adam, have you seen the movie? I'm not sure. Have you seen it? Chris, I'm not sure about that, about the Johnny Depp, if he will come back. So we'll have to see. Adam has seen it. What did you think of it then? Because it sounds like you're not impressed either. And what score would you give it? I'm curious. Big Bash, they really are. General Grievous and Dooku, they are explored. Where is it? No, Wide Dolph 3 says Lilo and Stitch has a 3.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and Snow White has a 1.9. But hearing what you have to say, I'm not sure how it got that high. Me neither. Even on IMDb, the audience reviews are quite high for Lilo and Stitch, and I don't get it. Everyone should be seeing the problems that I'm seeing, because they're so blatant. Batman says 235 says, Eric, I'm sad Peacemaker will have a different intro because I love the first season intro. Well, if you love the first season intro, watch season 1 again. But so it can be fun to have new intros. You know, I'm actually curious. It might be another dance number with the cast members for this season, maybe. Electrify says, sorry I missed because I just saw Mission Impossible 8 and it was very good. First act dragged, but the rest was very good. Must be blind loyalty. It might be, but yeah, maybe the marketing is what really got them with Lilo and Stitch. They liked the marketing, and maybe that's what made them want to go see it. And of course, nostalgia. Nostalgia also gets people in, so maybe that's why the movie did so well. Adam Grunther says, I didn't like it. I'd give it a 2 out of 10. All the remakes are the same and awful. The only remake to get a 1 are the ones that especially piss me off. Oh, so Adam, you gave it a 2 as well. So what made you give it a 2? You says that you also... Well, you said to me, what made me give it a 2? I thought you gave it a 1 or something in that case. Well, what made you give it a 2? Jake! Hi, bud. Haven't seen you for about a week or a couple of weeks. Has it been a couple of weeks? Oh, it's so nice to see all you guys here. It really is. Crazy Cat Lady says, my favorite is Lion King. Crazy Cat Lady, that actually is one of my least favorites. So that's funny. Man, when Jake pops into the chat, he always gets like a standing ovation from you guys. Batman235 says, nah. Rick Flag Senior dancing? Like, no. Like, yeah, I get that too. I know what you mean there. That would be weird. Adam says, because the remake I gave a 1 are the ones that genuinely made me angry and insulted. All the other remakes get a 2 from me because they're just a standard bad. Fair enough. For me, I thought there was a couple good stuff in there that I was like, okay, the portal battle, and I thought some of the stuff that they did with Stitch, I was like, okay, that's alright. That only got it up to a 2 for me. Ah, so there's a little leniency for the director there too. Okay, I get it. Fraser says, Eric, would you hate me if I say that The Little Mermaid is my favorite Disney remake? No, not at all. I wouldn't hate you for it. But I'm assuming you've seen my Little Mermaid versus video if you're saying that. But yeah, these remakes are just, to me, they're just heartless. They really are. I don't know, Big Bash, how long Clone Wars takes place after Attack of the Clones, but but between episodes 2 and 3, there were many years. The Clone Wars went on for many years, and then episode 3 happened. Adam Grunther says, the remakes that got a 1 from me are Lion King, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, and Maleficent. Oh, really? You gave The Little Mermaid also a 1 out of 10. Wow, I think that's lower than what I gave, isn't it? Isn't it? I've forgotten. What did I give it? Was it a 3? Khan says, I know you won't probably like this question, but what are your overall thoughts about The Acolytes? Well, The Acolyte, I actually wrote a whole Let's Binge Watch video for it, believe it or not. I was actually going to do a Let's Binge Watch video for The Acolyte. But by the time I finished writing the script and I was working on other videos, and then I think it just got to a point where it was just where I knew it was going to take too long to make it, and I just didn't get around to it. Which is sad, because that was a full-on script I wrote. And it just didn't work out. Caleb says, have you seen the Jungle Book remake? Yes, I have. I actually thought that was pretty decent. So yeah, what do the rest of you guys think, then, of Lilo and Stitch? Have any of you... Because there's more people that have entered the chat right now. Who else has seen the Lilo and Stitch remake? And what did you think of it? And, Lord forbid, I'm going to ask this question. Who thought that the remake was better than the original? I gotta ask. Let's see. Caleb, I still need to watch Invincible Season 3. Jake, I agree. The remakes do feel like they've had their souls sucked out. Oh, Joey, welcome back to the chat. Welcome back to the stream. Charleston is here as well. Still haven't seen the Lilo and Stitch remake yet. I've been more excited for Karate Kid Legends. Yeah, Karate Kid Legends is coming out, isn't it? So, yeah. Eddie Brock and Venom are a great duo and way better than Lilo and Stitch, says Jess. That's such a random comparison there. Good on you, Jake. You haven't seen the remake and you're not planning to. I can respect anyone who says that. Batman235 says, Eric, the only movie I'm seeing is Superman. You and me both, bud. I'm still not feeling that casting, by the way, for Fantastic Four, so yeah. Adam says, because Little Mermaid feels like it's actively apologizing for the original, and I normally hate complaints about feminism and modernism, but this is like the one time where I genuinely agreed. Yeah, it can be quite heavy-handed, can't it? And yeah, it did feel a lot. I even said in my Versus video that it felt weird. Like, in the anime, it's like in here, they're trying to say that Ariel is not going after the prince, even though in the animated movie, that's the whole reason she wanted to get feet, was to go with the prince, and so she could, be with him. But now they don't want to do that, so they had to replace it and say that, essentially they wanted to make it out like Ariel is the one that is... So Ariel is not going after the prince is going after Ariel, even though the whole point of the prince is that he doesn't want to go with Ariel because he thinks the woman that saved him is still out there, even though that woman was Ariel and could speak. But it's like here they're trying to change it. They're trying to say, no, the girl can't be going after the guy has to go after the girl, even though the whole point of the story is that a girl wants to go after the guy, and the guy does not want to go after this girl. But they tried to swap it anyway and say, no, he's trying to go after her, even though he's really trying to go after someone else. It was so weird. They really just fumbled it. They really did. Adam says, Eric not killing Ursula makes no sense, because that's the whole reason Triton finally relented and gave Ariel a... Yes, exactly. Because it showed that... Because Trident didn't trust the humans either, but after that he was like, no, like, I do trust them. So yeah, it was so stupid. But Adam, don't you know though, it's empowering for her to do it and do it herself and not have a man save her. You could just tell they were ticking those check boxes as they were making these changes, can't you? Big Bash Darth Vader and Force Unleashed was cool. It was really cool. But it was only one level, which is the disappointing part. What remake gave the worst insult to the original? Oh, I would say the Lion King remake, because the voice acting was so terrible. Everything about the Lion King remake was just so bad, and it's funny because it was trying to do a shot-for-shot remake, and it could have copied the movie, which was basically like their cheat sheet. It was like, that's what you have to do and what you have to try to copy, and they still screwed it up. The emotions was bad, everything was bad. Lion King really got on my nerves, so I'd say that one. Super Angry says, I was forced to watch this movie against my will. Oh, man, I'm so sorry, man. That sounds hard, that does. No, Aladdin comes very close for me, says Adam Grunther. Yeah, Aladdin wasn't good either. I didn't like the Jafar they had in there. First, bring me the lamp. Like, when he talks in that way, I'm like, what happened to that voice that Jafar had in the animated movie? That deep, commanding, devilish voice. And in here, they just made it seem like a sissy was basically talking. What would be your score for this movie, says Joey. Oh, you didn't see, I gave Lilo and Stitch a 2 out of 10. So yeah, I was disappointed with that. So yeah, guys, Lilo and Stitch, terrible, terrible movie. It was... Jeez, it was so bad. It was so bad. Like, I knew it wasn't going to be good, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. It's the editing is really what destroyed the movie. It just went from scene to scene so quickly, and the pacing of this was just so uneven. It was really bad, and I don't know how it's made as much money as it has at the box office. Over $300 million globally. And the movie had a $100 million budget because it was meant to go straight to Disney+. But instead, people are perfectly willing to pay for this movie in theaters, rather than show their kids the original animated movie on Disney Plus for free, and save themselves however much money it costs for a whole family to go to the theater and get popcorn and everything. Oh man, is that just so insane. It really, really is. Adam Grunther says, Aladdin had Alan Tudyk, the one person who could have matched Gilbert Gottfried, and they just made him a normal effing bird. That literally ruins the whole damn purpose of Iago. Slap in the face. Yeah, and also I wanted to always see that snake in live action, even as a kid. The big Jafar turning into a snake. I wanted to see how scary that would look in live action. So that would have been the one fun scene to actually see in the live action Aladdin. But you can tell they didn't want to do it, so they cheaped out and did a bird instead. That was so lame. Exactly right, Jake. People will watch anything these days if the brand is recognizable. Nostalgia will save the day. Yay, says Fireboy. 10 Rex says I'm at the airport. Bye. Okay, take care, buddy. Thanks for watching as long as you did. I appreciate it. Enjoy your flight. Khan says, at this point, I'm starting to really hate nostalgia because it just feels like an excuse to just say, look at this character, look at this movie, it's everything from your childhood, don't you love it? I know what you mean, bud. Nostalgia is getting really... It is starting to get really... It really is just starting to... I think it's wearing out its effect and impact. IGN gave this an 8. They seriously gave this movie an 8. Oh my god, IGN, seriously. Just when you think they can't lose their credibility, they find ways to keep losing more. Alright, let's see. Oh, Sarah has popped in. Hi Sarah, how have you been? Great to see you here. Nostalgia has become useful to get suckers into theaters. They gave Snow White a 7. Okay. But yeah, I thought this was a really atrocious movie, and I really could not stand what they did to this. This one got me angry at places, which, you know you've come across a bad Disney remake when that happens. Alright, so, next movie we're going to talk about, before we move on to the big Marvel news, which will be soon, is that we are going to talk about Mission Impossible. Now, this is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Now, the movie that came out before this, the Mission Impossible film that came out before this, was Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. But the reason they called this the Final Reckoning, it was Dead Reckoning Part 1. But the reason they're calling this the Final Reckoning is because the previous movie, Dead Reckoning Part 1, did a decent job at the box office, but quite bad considering how big the movie's budget was, which was like 300 million or something, because they had to create a train that they wanted to crash. So the movie had an insanely large budget, and what's happening is Sarah leaving. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, take care, Sarah. Thanks for dropping in. Really appreciate it. Okay, so, yeah, the movie Dead Reckoning, the reason that they didn't call this Dead Reckoning Part 2, and the reason that movie didn't do very well, is because it came out during Barbenheimer, and Mission Impossible only had premium screens for a week. Then the premium screens, they all went to Barbie and Oppenheimer, and it's sad because Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is really a good movie. And unfortunately, it flopped it for Mission Impossible when you put it up against this budget and its marketing budget and everything. And because of that, you can tell that they lost faith in this movie. And sadly, this movie also was going through issues because there were reshoots going on. Sorry, not reshoots. There was the COVID that went on, so they had to do shoots in between COVID. And then we had the the writers' strike that went on. So that meant that they had a movie had to stop shooting again, this second part. And because of that, it caused them a lot of issues, essentially. So there was a lot of production issues because of that. And that's why the movie, I think, got impacted in the end. And it shows. So, like, the first half of the movie for me, maybe it was the first hour, but it felt like the first half. That's how long that first hour felt. It ultimately was the reason why the movie, in the first hour at least, or first half, it felt slow. I actually felt like I was actually closing my eyes a bit at points. Like, it got that boring. And also, this movie is much more serious, this Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, and there's not as much jokes and humor in there, so therefore, you're hearing a lot of people give tons and tons of exposition in that first hour, and they're giving a lot of plot, and they're referencing a lot of the previous movies. But the thing is that it's like, before I saw this one, I watched Dead Reckoning again. The same day I went to go see this one. So I was like, I'm already caught up, so why are you showing tons of flashbacks to previous movies when I've just watched them? It felt really quite bad, and it did feel like they were just stitching scenes together in that first hour. And that really is a shame, but I will say the movie was not a complete dud because with Mission Impossible, ultimately, this movie, it did in the last hour and a half, it got more entertaining, but it still wasn't as good as the previous Mission Impossible films. My favorite ones are Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, Fallout, and then Dead Reckoning Part 1. Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, sadly, it was a disappointment to me. I'm just going to put it out there right now. It continues the story of the Entity, which is basically AI taking over. And essentially, in this movie, they say it's trying to create Judgment Day. There is doubt everywhere. People don't know what is real. But it always felt quite small scale. Like, we're seeing parts of how the world is being impacted, but I feel like we weren't seeing the world being impacted enough, considering how high the stakes were for this. And this is one of those movies where a world kind of like... The world is at stake. But not like a superhero movie. It felt a bit more real, you could say. So that's essentially... Smoothie King, great to see you here. But yeah, the movie was... But yeah, the movie was essentially... It felt like you could tell that it was going through troubles because it felt like the budget was smaller. Like they couldn't afford to put more of the action scenes on screen. Which is bizarre because the budget for this movie is still very expensive, but that's probably down to, again, the actors' strike and COVID, which made it super expensive. But there was even less action in this as well. Like, normally the Mission Impossible movies are known for great action and for having non-stop action. But here, the action was, like, so limited. And the only action scene that you get in the movie that I think is, like, the big action sequence is at the end with the airplanes, with the planes flying by, and Tom Cruise is actually on those planes for real. Some cool stunts in there, definitely, but it felt like we had seen it before in Mission Impossible Fallout. In Mission Impossible Fallout, when he was going after Henry Cavill, they were both on those planes, and it was a really cool thing. This felt like they were just recycling that climax, is what it felt like. Like, this is stuff they've all done before. And that really is a shame, because I was like, these Mission Impossible movies are so creative when they do all of this stuff. They've got so much creative stuff they throw at you. Especially with the action sequences. That's what it really is all about, these action sequences. But here it felt like they ran out of juice. Either they ran out of creative juice, or they ran out of money, or both. It just felt like this movie was, like, cutting corners in so many places. Like, every turn you would take, it felt like it was cutting a corner. Even the scene that we see, that happens, and then you get the classic Mission Impossible intro, even that was underwhelming. I was like, seriously? That's what you're going to use to start out the intro with this? So, it's disappointing. This movie, for me, it had potential. I love how the previous movie built it up, but in the end, it felt like it was such a disappointment. And there's a couple of action scenes, and even the couple of action scenes that are good. There's one that was on a submarine, which was really good, but I felt like it was too long. But ultimately, a lot of this movie is forgettable. Normally, every single Mission Impossible movie, you come away remembering it, especially 4, 5, 6, and 7. There's stuff to definitely remember. But this one, I was forgetting it as soon as I got back home. I was like, how can I be forgetting this already? Like, this is just insane for a Mission Impossible movie. They're not meant to be this forgettable. So, yeah, for me, I thought Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning was very disappointing. I'm very disappointed that this is how they went out. I'm disappointed that we waited for so long and this is the movie we got. It's so disappointing. So, yeah, I would give it... let me think. Because my score doesn't feel definitive yet either. So, I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna give it a high 6. That's what I'll give it. It's above average. A high 6. I feel like Mission Impossible 5, for example, I think that I gave a 7. Mission Impossible 4, I think I gave that one a 9. And Mission Impossible Fallout, I also give that a low 9. And the Dead Reckoning one, I give that a high 8. The one that I just saw recently, the one before this one. That one I give a high 8. But yeah, dude, this one was pretty rough to sit through. It really was, and it's disappointing because whenever I watched the movie before this one, Dead Reckoning, and that was meant to be part 1, this is meant to be part 2. Whenever I watch that movie now, it's going to be a fun movie, but when I get to the end, I'm going to be like, yeah, let's just turn this off now when it gets to the end. I don't need to watch the next movie because it's going to be disappointing. So yeah, I don't need to see it again after I've seen it the first time. I'm very disappointed with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. So disappointing, and I don't even think it's Tom Cruise's fault. I think it really is just the circumstances that this movie had to go through during the pandemic, and also during the writer's strike, and that's unfortunately what impacted this movie, and that is so sad to see. I wish they could have got their. I wish the scenes that they're trying to like scrap together, I wish they could have done it better, but as is, it was just so meh. I think at first I gave it a 7 or a low 7 when I watched it, but the more I'm thinking about it, I think a high 6 is what it deserves, because I'm telling you, I'm forgetting about it. Like I just can't remember a lot of the stuff in this. And also some of the characters that I wish would have gotten more time, like Haley Atwell's character, Simon Pegg's and all that. They get scenes in this, but it doesn't feel like it's pushing their characters as forward or utilizing them as well as it did in, say, the previous movies. Here it felt like they were here and that was it. Oh, also the ending I said was very much like Mission Impossible Fallout. They were taking the plane action sequence from Fallout. But it also felt a bit like they took the sequence out of Mission Impossible 4's climax as well, where one of the people are injured or shot as they're trying to like all team up to stop this final threat. And when the final threat does feel stopped, it doesn't hit you with like, did they do it? Did they do it? Like how the end of Fallout did, when it cut to white, when they cut the wires, and then you see Tom Cruise like standing on top of that mountain thing, that rock that he was climbing. And you were like, shit, did it work? Did it work? And then it cuts to him having the thing in his mouth. And I was like, everyone was like, oh yeah, like he did it. Did he? And then it drops the remote. And then you see the explosives come out of their little chambers where Simon Pegg and all these other characters, Benji and all of them are. And I was like, they were looking at it like, is it done? Is it done? And it was. And that was so cool. You didn't get that kind of feeling of release, like the release of tension when they completed their mission in this movie. And when it was over, I was like, I wish we would have gotten more development with the characters before the movie ended, because the way it ended, it's like, yeah, you could make another one after this if you wanted to, but sadly, and I mean really sadly, you didn't get enough with the characters at the end. It's like, if you're going to end it, you need to give us some time with the characters. I know these Mission Impossible movies usually end shortly after the mission is done, but come on, you got to give us more with the characters if this is the final one. So I found that to be disappointing. And the movie did not need to be 2 hours and 49 minutes. It didn't. Which is funny, because Dead Reckoning Part 1, that was 2 hours and 45 minutes, I think. And that is nearly 3 hours too. But when this movie was 2 hours 49, people were like, oh wow, that's like a 3 hour movie. But it wasn't until I saw Dead Reckoning Part 1 and I saw its runtime, and I was like, oh, this movie is technically just the next movie, this one, it's only 4 minutes longer than Dead Reckoning Part 1. So I was like, that's not too much longer. But with Dead Reckoning, you couldn't even tell it was a 2 hours, 45 minute movie. It was paced really well. Sadly, you didn't get that level of pacing in this one. You just didn't, which is a shame. It really is. I think they could have done a great job, but sadly, they just did not. They kind of dropped the ball on this one. And I'm very disappointed, because I was expecting this movie to be one of my best movies of the year. I wasn't thinking that originally, but watching it, I was like, this should have been one of my best movies of the year, because I haven't got a big list this year in particular so far. And I was kind of hoping this would be one of them on that list, but it won't be. I can tell you that right now. The only way it will be is if there's not much good stuff to come out this year. So yeah, disappointed. Wild Dolph 3 says, I haven't seen any of the Mission Impossibles or the Top Guns. Ooh, really? I would say the first Mission Impossible movie that I saw was, I think it was 3. After seeing 3, I then saw 2? Or did I watch 2? No, I saw 2 first when I was a very little kid. Then I saw 3, and then I saw 4. Then I saw 1. Then I saw 5. Then I saw 6 and 7 and 8. So that's kind of my order. But yeah, if I were you, just watch the 4th one onwards. Although watching the 3rd one, I think, would definitely help too. Because there's a certain character dynamic that was introduced in there that will actually lead into the 4th one. So yeah, I would say watch it that way. Anthony Collins is in the chat. It says, how are you today, Eric? I'm very good, buddy. How about yourself? super angry, I did watch Top Gun Maverick, and I did not love it like everyone else, but I did enjoy it. Ooh, 9 out of 10 for you, says Goat. Wow. Adam Grunther says, what are your top 3 favourite villains from the Mission Impossible films? That's a funny thing that you ask that, because I think the villains are probably one of the weaker elements of all of these Mission Impossible movies, even the good ones. I think the villains are the weakest elements of them. Like the old man in the 6th one, who really... And he was also in the 5th, who really cares? He had some good moments, but there was nothing about his personality that was memorable. Just a boring old man. But my favourite villain, I would say, is Henry Cavill, of course. He's my favourite one. Henry Cavill is actually, I would say, a genuinely good villain. Like, you know, he's got a personality, like an interesting and fun personality, unlike the rest of the villains. So Henry Cavill is probably the only exception, I would say. Who was the villain in the... Oh yeah, I remember the villain in the 5th one, but he was better in the 6th one, but even then he wasn't that great. I can't... The second one I've not seen since I was a little kid, so... I need to see that one again. The villain in the first one, there was a couple of villains in the first one, but I can't remember that movie very well either. Alright, I'll say Henry Cavill, the Frenchman villain from the first one. Oh yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I liked him as a villain in the third movie. Yeah. So yeah, Henry Cavill, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and... Ooh, what was another one? Can I say that? I'll say this, that crazy assassin woman in the 4th movie. There wasn't much to her, but she was memorable in how nutty and crazy she looked. And then she ended up being a Bond girl in one of the later Bond movies. So that's what I would say. Okay, let's see. What are you guys saying? Oh, Adam has put his villains here. For me, it's Henry Cavill, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Isai Morales. Ooh, I don't know. Is he the villain from the 5th and 6th movie? Miles Adair's here says, for me, I gave it a 5. Originally, I gave it 7 when I first watched it. Unfortunately, time went on and I have more time to think of it. Yeah, it can get worse when you start, you know, reflecting on it. Oh, Gabriel. I'll say this, you know what? I should mention Gabriel. Gabriel was kind of a cool villain in the 7th film in the sense that he didn't even seem human. He seemed like he was AI. For being AI's bitch who was basically telling him what to do, he seemed like AI. He looked like he was AI. He didn't even look real, like the way he would move and talk, the way he would look at people. But in this final one, I wanted him to be... Because he did kill a pivotal character in the previous movie. So I was like, okay, this guy's a big deal to Ethan Hunt. To Tom Cruise's character. So then when he was in this one, I was like, okay, let's see what they do with him here. And there's something they do with him and the entity, which I thought was cool. I thought that was actually kind of good. I was wondering that at the end of the previous one. I was like, won't there be some kind of ramifications for this? But I was like, okay, that's good. That is good. That they basically address what how the entity feels that he failed it. But he got so goofy in that climax, that plane chase, he got really goofy and was laughing like a mustache-twirling villain. And then something happens, and I was like, dumbass. You've seen the movie, Adam, so I know you must know what I'm thinking about. But there was something that he did, and I was like, seriously, is that it? Like, what a lame-ass villain he was. I think they rushed that. I don't like what they did with him there. I thought that was lame. Chris Thompson, you are right. Gabriel is good in both movies, but in movie 8, he literally doesn't appear in most of Final Reckoning. Yeah, he doesn't. But when he does, it's like, so he just seems lame now. He does. He really does. He just seems so lame. Crazy Cat Lady, Hunchback of Notre Dame is a great one as well. Yeah. Wide Dolph 3 says, based on the trailers, what are you thinking about Jurassic World Rebirth? Surely it can't be as bad as Dominion. I've got my trailer reaction to the first trailer of Jurassic World Rebirth on my Patreon and YouTube memberships. And I just recorded before this stream, I recorded my reaction to the second trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth, and I'm going to put that on my Patreon after this live stream. So, If you want to know my trailer reactions, watch it on Patreon and YouTube memberships, and you'll see my trailer reaction to it. I literally just saw the trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth literally about 30 minutes before I started this live stream. Anthony Collins says, which Mission Impossible movie should I start with? I would say it's just start from movie 1 and just watch them all the way. Trust me, they get better as they go. So, do that, find the time, watch all of them. People say the first 3 are no good, but I think the first 3 introduce you at least to the character of Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise. And it's good to be introduced to him, I think, until you get to the 4th movie, which they didn't make the 4th movie until years after the 3rd one. Or if you want, you can just go to movie 4, 5, 6, 7, because those are the best ones. But I would recommend getting a bit of knowledge on, Ethan Hunt, which that's what the first 3 movies are for. So if you don't want to watch the first 2, watch 3 and then keep going from there. That's how I would recommend it, basically. Because some of the stuff from 3 does come back later, so you might want to watch 3 onwards. But I don't think 3 was great either, personally. Adam says, I think Gareth Edwards is at least a more competent director. I don't think it'll be great, but I do think it'll be but I don't think it'll be as bad as Dominion. I don't know how you can be worse as Dominion, but here's hoping. But I don't know. Looking at the characters, I'm like, how stupid can these people be going back into the park and getting, issues like that, running into the same problems that they've always been running into. And they keep bringing a kid into all of this too. Like, are you guys dumb or something? So yeah. Big Bash says, Eric, I finished Teen Titans Season 4. I only have Season 5 left. Do you mean the animated cartoon, or do you mean the live action show? Because if you mean the animated, then great. Hope you have a great time and enjoy it. Exactly, Adam. It is how every Jurassic movie happens. Bad management and a kid in danger. One thing I did say in my trailer reaction, and I'll just let you guys know this one thing I said, but you guys can watch it to see my entire thing. I said that what would have made this Jurassic Park movie different is if they made it rated R. That would be different to see, an R-rated Jurassic Park movie. But they didn't do it rated R, of course, because they want to make it PG-13 so it can make a ton load of money. But I would have liked to have seen a rated R. Maybe that would have been one different thing enough to make me think, okay, let's watch it. That's different enough. So yeah, that's what I wish they could have done. Adam says, did you pick up on the fact that the villain in Dead Reckoning is the same actor who played Deathstroke in Titans? I can't even remember Deathstroke's face in Titans. I remember he had a daughter with white hair. I remember Jason Todd, who had a relationship with her. And I remember, was he in Season 2? Because I remember I think I did see him. But no, I forgot it was him. Jake says, maybe they could do that awful human and dino. Maybe. And or when Nedry dies. How great is the stunts and CGI so far? Are you talking about in Mission Impossible? How great are the stunts and CGI? Raymond, who are you talking about? Are you talking about Mission Impossible, or are you talking about the Jurassic World movie we're talking about? Yes, Smoothie King, I'm aware the book is rated R. They need to remake Jurassic Park, but make it like the book. It will be R-rated for sure. The book is so disturbing, it's crazy, but it would also be a great movie if they wanted to do something. Yeah, what was it that guy, that big fat guy in the first one, who got killed by that dinosaur that spits that goo into his face? I read a little bit in the book where he can't see anything and he feels a slash, and then he puts his hands down and it's his intestines that are falling out he feels. I was like, whoa, that's some R-rated scariness in that Jurassic World book. Dennis, thank you, Super Angry. I appreciate that. Yeah. It was Dennis, where you read that in the book, and I was like, shit, man, that is scary. The way it's written and described. Imagine being in that situation. So, yeah, that was freaky. That was very freaky to read that part. So, yeah, I could imagine it would be rated R. Newman because of Seinfeld, yeah. Adam Grunder says, honestly, between Jurassic and Fantastic Four, I'm going to see Fantastic Four. I have doubts. for both of those movies, but I am so sick of Jurassic World, especially when they haven't been good since 1. Yeah, I like Jurassic World 1, though. I did like the first Jurassic World. Unless you're talking about that. I thought you were talking about the first Jurassic Park. But yeah, for me, I'm just really my eyes are just really focused on Superman right now. Fantastic Four is there, whatever. I'll watch it and give it a look, but I'm really going to watch it for the Versus video, I might do. But really, whatever. That's what my thoughts are on Fantastic Four. Jurassic World, whatever. Superman is the one that part of me feels like whatever, but the other part is there's a chance this could work. So I'm still skeptical on Superman. James Gunn does good with his other stuff, but when it comes to Superman, he can't rely on his old bag of tricks, and that's why I want to see if he can pull this one off. Because all the other shows, the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, he is relying on his old tricks that he's normally very good at, but with Superman, he can't rely on those. He needs something completely different, so I'm hoping he does a good job with this. Yeah, Adam, Superman is the most anticipated for me, and that's the one that I would watch out of all 3 of those films. Ooh, Chris Thompson says, between Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, Dead Man's Chest and At World's End, and Dead Reckoning versus Final Reckoning, which is the worst drop-off? The worst drop-off is probably At World's End, because there was so much hype following Dead Man's Chest, and then the way they did it, it was just disappointing. Great final action sequence, and I like the interaction with some of the characters, but boy, was it just did not work the way for me as it should have. I know you were gonna say this, Adam. I knew it. I knew you were gonna say this. You're saying, just like to point out that every time you said you weren't really looking forward to a James Gunn project, you ended up loving it. I know. You are right. You've got a good point there, but there are things to James Gunn's style where I am starting to notice patterns, and those patterns, I hope, do not show their face in Superman. He's got to really change up here. Superman is in many ways not what James Gunn is not what you would expect to be in his wheelhouse. So I'm hoping he brings the validity to this and that he doesn't bring too much of his isms in here. I knew from the very beginning that he was going to bring a superhero team in here, that this was not going to be a solo Superman movie. And in the end, we did see he brought in other characters, and he also brought in the Green Lantern. What was this Green Lantern's name? I always say my memory sucks. Guy Gardner. He brought in Guy Gardner because he's the jokey type. He's the a-hole. He can do a lot of jokes through him. So I was aware that he was going to bring in a superhero team so he can have them do a bunch of jokes. And sadly, it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen, which is a shame. Now, I think we've talked enough about all this. Next up, what we're going to be talking about is Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And would you look at that, Jake has done a $28 donation. Thank you very, very much, Jake. I really appreciate that. Really, I do. I don't know what to say. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the donations. It really does help. I don't like to sound like pushy or anything. I don't mean to be if I am, but if you can, do it through Streamlabs. That way all of your donation goes to me and none of it gets taken by YouTube. So the link is in the description and pinned in the comment section. But if you don't want to, that's entirely your choice. But that is the best way to do it. But regardless, thank you very, very much for that, Jake. I really appreciate it. Jake says, sorry, my message messed up. What if they did that awful human and dinosaur hybrid idea from the original Jurassic World script? Yes, that was planned. I heard of something like that a long time ago. Yeah, that was so tacky when I heard about that. Anyways, have you seen Novocaine? I haven't seen it, but planning to. Yes, I have seen Novocaine, and it was really fun. I read the synopsis, and that was all I needed to be like, I want to give this movie a watch. The synopsis is that Jack Quaid is in the movie, and essentially he's from The Boys. He plays Huey in The Boys. And the movie is essentially about this guy whose girlfriend is kidnapped, and he goes to go rescue her, but he has a condition called, I think, he's got a condition which prevents his body from feeling any pain. And that to me, I was like, that is a great hook. So it means he's gonna have to go after the bad guys, but they can't hurt him. And I was like, okay, neat, that's pretty cool. So that was what I read, and I was like, yeah, I want to go see the movie. And it was a fun movie, Jake. I really enjoyed it. I think you'll enjoy it too. There was one thing in the final act that I wish the impact could have hit harder, but it didn't. And I think they spoiled something too early, which I think they should have kept secret for longer. But ultimately, it was a good, fun movie for the year, I thought. Wow. Everyone reacts to you, Jake, when you put a donation through, don't they? It's funny when that happens. But thank you, Jake. I really appreciate the donation. It helps a huge deal. So thank you so, so much for that. I appreciate it, Jake. All right, so Avengers, Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars. Oh, hang on. Jake said, what if they did that awful human and dinosaur hybrid idea? It would have been too stupid, so I'm glad they didn't do it. All right. Time to get back to Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. So, Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars has been delayed. So, the movie was originally supposed to release in both of these movies. They were supposed to originally release in May of each year. So, the first one was supposed to release in May of 2026, and the Secret Wars was meant to release in May of 2027, and they were going to shoot this back to back. Originally, they said they were going to have the movies be 2 years apart, and they were going to shoot them separately, but now they're shooting them back to back, even though we keep hearing stories that they haven't got a complete script yet. So this sounds like a mess already, and it sounds very much in keeping with Marvel's bad habits. That being that they don't have a complete script before they start shooting. And then later on, they're like, oh shit, this doesn't work, so let's do rewrites and reshoots, and then it ends up costing them so much more money. So this is really quite frankly, insane what they're doing. I don't have confidence in this project, purely because they're rushing it, and the Russos, that is one point that you get, that the Russos are here, but even their track record as of late, like I said, when I reviewed The Electric State recently, their recent movie, I'm losing faith in the Russo brothers. I really am. And these two, they're not filling me with with confidence. These two movies aren't, because of the Russos' lack of quality control standards as of late, and also just because Marvel have just been, greenlighting these movies without even having complete scripts. So that sounds absolutely terrible to me. However, this delay is being delayed from May of 2026 and May of 2027 to December of 2026 and December of 2027. So now they're moving the movies to the Christmas time to release it essentially near the time that Spider-Man No Way Home came to theaters. So that's what they're doing. And honestly, you can see here, this delayed, I got it as red right now. But also, there you go. I've changed it to yellow. Why? Because I'm glad they delayed it. Because they just started shooting. They said they were going to shoot the movie on March, a couple months ago of this year, and that it was going to release about a year later from March, essentially. So it was going to be like April, May. It was going to release. But here's the thing, though. I was saying that if they've just started writing not so long ago, they can't finish the script already, can they? And then the reports are coming out that, yeah, they haven't got a complete script, but they're still shooting the very next month. And then they ended up pushing the shoot from March to April because they needed more time to write the script. And then they were like, okay, now we're going to start shooting. And we were like, but the reports that we heard were, they still haven't got a finished script. So it's like, this is just a clown show. This really is. This is not how you're supposed to make a big, huge budget movie. Hi, Factory of Divisive Opinions. It's been a while since I've seen you. I think that is certainly the most divisive thing. But yeah, it's such a disappointment that they were going to keep going forward with it despite not having a complete script. But I'm glad now that they're delaying it. So who knows? Maybe they will get more time to write it. But if they don't, what is going to happen is that they'll have more time in post-production, so hopefully we'll have a better looking movie, and it won't be something that's just cobbled together and very quickly thrown together and given to the animators and CG artists. Hopefully we will get something hopefully we'll get something better in terms of quality here. That's what I'm hoping. So we'll see what happens, but I gotta say, guys, at the end of the day, I still don't care about these movies. It'll probably be more interesting when we actually see them, trailers for them and stuff, but as is, I just don't care, because they've not built up Doctor Doom properly. They've just very quickly are going to give us a couple of Avengers movies, and then they're going to say, that's it, it's done. It's like, Doom should have been built up, but this is just a panic move. This is not anything more than a panic move, which is unfortunate. Big Bash, exactly what I just said, that these movies are not set up properly. And Robert Downey Jr. coming in here, again, that's such a lazy thing. I think a lot of people, they might, when they hear it, I don't know, I think this is something that'll still make money, though. I don't like saying it, but it's going to make money, kind of like what Lilo and Stitch just did. Adam says, I hate to say it, but any chance of these movies topping Infinity War and Endgame was shot in the kneecaps when they cast Robert Downey Jr. I think even if they didn't cast Robert Downey Jr., it still would have shot him in the kneecaps. I think it shot him in the kneecaps that they decided to make both of these movies right now without any build-up, and that they made all of these characters in the MCU that just no one connects to. Like, the Ironheart trailer came out recently. Does anyone care? It looks like more homework rather than like something that you genuinely want to go and watch. And after the Penguin, which we got recently, and Creature Commandos, they can't just be releasing shit like this anymore. Also, Ironheart is apparently going to have Mephisto in it. And he's going to be apparently very comedic and goofy. So, yeah, you'll be very disappointed with that show. They're going to make everyone disappointed. Make everything a joke again, as they always do. Adam Grunther, I don't mean that. They haven't shown Mephisto in the trailer, but it's been reported a while back now, because they've had this show for 2 or 3 years. They've had it in the can now. But they've just never released it because they were afraid to. They thought it was going to be just... They're not happy with the quality of it. So, yeah, they've been sitting on it for a while. And the fact that they've been sitting on it for so long basically means that that it has no impact to the overall MCU. There's no reason for you to have to watch this. That's why they were able to sit on it for 2 to 3 years, because there's no impact if you see it or not. So, yeah. But Mephisto, believe it or not, Adam, from what I've read for a long, long time ago, Mephisto is in this show. This show deals with magic and stuff, and Mephisto is apparently going to be in it. And I'm losing faith in the Avengers movie, says Electrify. Yeah, you're not the only one, bud. Khan says, nah, Disney themselves killed the MCU. Yeah, they in many ways have, because they've run it to the ground. But it's not just Disney Plus's fault, it's the movie's fault too, because the movies weren't pulling their weight either. Adam says, also, I gotta say, for something called the Multiverse Saga, I really don't think we've even explored the multiverse at all. I thought we'd be seeing way more other universes by now. Yeah, what we basically saw in Multiverse of Madness when Doctor Strange goes through all those portals very quickly, like in slow-mo, and then it just speeds up the footage. If that was done in... we traveled to those universes, that would have been cool. But the most we got was pizzas are balls now, and the traffic lights, when they're reversed. That's the most we got with the multiverse, which was so freaking lame. The rest of the stuff they did with the multiverse was just bring in cameos from characters, so yeah. Pretty dumb. But yeah, so the reason that they're doing the delay, ultimately, is because I think the movie is not coming together the way they thought it would. I think they're already foreseeing some potential issues, and they think that we can't go through those issues, so give it more time. And also, by doing this, they're delaying the movies, and that means that following Fantastic Four, we're not going to have another MCU project for a year and a half, essentially. Fantastic Four comes out this July, and I think we're going to get Wonder Man at the end of this year, like November, December. And then, essentially, for a whole year, we're not going to get any more Marvel stuff. Unless they do have more stuff in the can that we don't know of. But essentially, yeah. Oh, Jake's going to have to leave now. Take care, Jake, and thank you very much for the donation. I really appreciate that. It was... I always appreciate it every single time, that kind of support. So thank you very much. And thanks for joining the stream for as long as you have. So, yeah. So, yeah, I think that's what they're trying to do, ultimately. And the fact that we're not going to have another Marvel project for essentially a year, if Wonder Man truly is the last one, that should hopefully give Marvel a year's worth of breathing space to where people will feel like they've been away from Marvel for a good bit. So then they might feel more inclined to watch Avengers Doomsday because they've not had a Marvel movie for like a whole year. They might be craving it at that point. And then, so I think Marvel know that. They're trying to pull back with all this stuff for that very reason, is what I think. Oh yeah, Super Angry says No. Doesn't Brand New Day come out after Avengers Doomsday? Adam says, hell, Across the Spider-Verse only went to one universe too, but I still felt the creativity and at least get the feeling that Beyond the Spider-Verse will go to more other universes. Yeah, the Spider-Verse movies have done a far better job with the multiverse. Quite frankly, I think even the Flash show did a great job with the multiverse. You know, the CW Flash? This is back when they were good at the beginning, like in seasons 2 and 3, they were doing the multiverse stuff. And even that did more with the multiverse. And then if you look at the Flashpoint Paradox DC animated movie, that also did a lot with the multiverse. So DC have a history of doing great stuff with the multiverse. Even in the comics, I think DC were the first to really like take on the multiverse. Then Marvel came in with it afterwards. But yeah, Adam says, let's not go that far. I will, because at the time, I don't know about now, but at the time, they did some creative stuff with the multiverse. That was, for many people, that was our first kind of like introduction into the multiverse, and it was interesting with the season 2 and 3 of The Flash. It was a cool way like of playing with it. It was. So to see what Disney are doing with it now, I am not surprised. Because Marvel were doing multiverse, but there's no real multiverse stories you can, at least that I'm aware of, that you can point to. The Flashpoint Paradox is a big one that people talk about when it comes to the multiverse over at DC, but what's the Marvel multiverse story that everyone talks about? I can't really think of one. Trevor, I enjoy The Flash a lot too with the first 2-3 seasons. People got bored by season 3, but I thought the first 3 seasons were really good, especially for seasons 1 and 2. Season 4 is where it started to go downhill, then season 5 got shit, and 6 got so pathetic I stopped watching after a couple episodes. Adam Grunther says, nothing that Marvel does will be more insulting than the way DC handled the first, and sadly only time we saw Kevin Conroy's Batman in live action. Yeah, that one weak kick that she gives him and that kills him, that was so freaking stupid. And they were trying to do a lot of female empowerment in that as well by having Batwoman say, Bruce, I'm giving you the chance to come back from this. It didn't seem much as her giving a chance as much as it was the show trying to say, see, through her words, she's healing him. And I was like, it just seems too preachy the way she's saying it. It doesn't feel like this is how real people talk. Well, apparently Kevin Conroy's final role... Khan says, well, apparently Kevin Conroy's final role was technically from the Devil May Cry series on Netflix. Yeah, I saw him in that. That was he did a pretty good job, but he very much sounded like his Batman voice in that. So, irony that Ruby Rose ended up quitting. Yes, that is a funny irony, isn't it? That she ended up quitting. Yeah, so that's basically it about Avengers being delayed. Now it's time to go to the Q&A. So, what have you guys have any questions you want to ask based on all of that we just saw? Do you have any questions about the stories we talked about? Do you have any questions at all? Let me know. Oh, man. Adam says, I have one. What's the least bad Disney live-action remake? Blimey, that is not an easy question. Oh... Whew. Okay, the least bad one for me. I was trying to think of the ones that I reviewed, but I'll mention one that I didn't. Jungle Book. All this time I was trying to think of the ones that that I reviewed. I was trying to, but I just don't know. That's too hard. Yeah, that's too hard. Yeah, that is too hard. So I'll just say Jungle Book is the least bad one, because that one is watchable to me. I don't think it's great. Ooh, did you ever see the Andy Serkis Jungle Book movie? Yes, I did. That one I did genuinely enjoy. It was a different take, a darker take, and I actually really enjoyed that. I felt bad for Andy Serkis that it was going to go to theaters, but then they released it on Netflix instead. I felt bad for him in that regard, because the movie took him so many years to make. It took forever. I remember keeping track of keeping track of the production on that, and it was taking forever to bloody get done. Goat says, Eric, no hate, but if you aren't excited for a movie, then don't watch it because no one is forcing you. That's not what the point is. The point is it's my job. So if a movie is trending and it's a movie that I don't like to see, that's just kind of what you got to do. I'm not the only one that's in that situation. You just have to. So yeah, that's why I have to watch movies that I don't want to watch, because it's my job essentially to do so and cover it for you guys. Super Angry says, Eric, how does the CGI from the Andy Serkis series, Circus film, not feel uncanny? Because Andy Serkis knows about motion capture, but the problem with Andy Serkis' movie is that the CGI wasn't amazing all the way through. You could tell it still felt a bit unfinished. But I loved the design. Like, Benedict Cumberbatch was playing Shere Khan, and I loved the design they had there. Some of the other characters as well was good. I like the way they've got all these actors and put their face into all these different varieties of animals. I thought that was pretty cool. Christian Bale was also really good. Favorite Ben 10 show? The original. Although, I do have a soft spot for the first 2 seasons of Ben 10 Alien Force. Eric, do you want to see a live-action Star Killer? At some point, maybe, but I feel like, nah, at the same time. I wouldn't want to see a live-action Star Killer until we get another Force Unleashed game. Then, if they do that well, then I'll want to see a Star Killer. Yeah, Adam, that ruined my day, that did. When I saw what Mowgli saw something, and what he saw, I was like, shit, that made me feel bad, that did. That was horrible. And what's funny is that do you know who plays that character? It was Andy Serkis' son. So when that happened, I was like, whoa. Supersonic says, Eric, off topic, what do you think of Scrat from Ice Age? I like Scrat. He's hilarious, so petty as well. At one point, he's practically in he's like in the heaven, like those nuts haven where there's squirrels like him, and they all have nuts everywhere, like it's heaven for squirrels, and he still gets so selfish and takes all of them and then ends up losing them all. That was such a hilarious joke, that was. Scrat is disturbed and so selfish how he's taking all those nuts for himself from everyone, and he ruined that for them. They should have killed him when they had the chance. I know that's dark, but Adam, essentially what you just said, what a hunter did to Mowgli's friend is exactly what those squirrels should have done to Scrat, because he basically ruined that heaven for them, essentially. That was... I remember thinking, geez, Scrat, you are messed up for doing that. JT says, hey Eric, love your Versa series. Thank you very much, I'm glad you enjoy them. My questions are you familiar with I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise? Do you think the upcoming film will be any good? I am familiar with it. I've only seen the first movie, but I did see someone review the second film, and they showed a bunch of clips of it. It looked really quite dumb. It didn't even acknowledge the ending of the first movie. But yes, I have seen the first one long time ago. I can't even really remember it, to be honest with you, but I remember some scenes. I remember Sarah Michelle Gellar was in there, and I remember she died, but it was kind of off screen, if I think. That's what happened, yeah. But yeah, I don't think it was great. I think the ending was stupid, like how the last shot, basically, I thought that was dumb. Typical jump scare stuff. I thought that was lame, the jump scare stuff they did at the very end. But yeah, the movie wasn't a great one, but there was definitely some good stuff in there. Big Bash says, Eric, did you watch Clone Wars when it was on Cartoon Network? Yes, I did. I definitely did. And yeah, it was so good. It was so, so good. One of the last good shows on Cartoon Network from, you know, my generational era. And then they started bringing in the live action stuff after that, which flopped the big time. Goat says, did you know that the Brachiosaurus that died in Fallen Kingdom was the same one from Jurassic Park? Was it? Well, didn't know that. Adam Grunther says, have you seen Learning with Pibby? No, I've never even heard of that. Learning with Pibby. It was a short. Is this... Hang on, let me drop the brightness down. Is this it? Learning with Pibby. Cartoon Network. Yeah. It was going to be an Adult Swim show that explores the Cartoon Network multiverse. Seriously? I always wanted a Cartoon Network crossover because I don't know if you guys remember, but before the actual cartoons would come on, they would actually have little Cartoon Network snippets commercials where Frankie from Foster's Home would be driving around trying to find parking space for Blue and for Wilt and all that, but the whole time she runs into all these other characters from Cartoon Network who keep like throwing things at her as she's parking, and she has to keep driving around the whole evening until it's late just trying to find a parking spot, and she can't find one, and then she picks, and in the time she's looking for a parking spot she just drives back and picks them up. That's how long it was. So that was cool. Is it? Okay. It was everywhere for a few years. It looked amazing. Oh wow, okay. The May goal, Time Shadow, is meant to be for YouTube members. Is what it's meant to be. I don't know why it's not updating, because someone did become a YouTube member. But yeah, it did not update it. I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. That's just weird. I like how Clone Wars handles politics. It does it in a way that doesn't feel forced, and it mirrors our world, and it really fits the Star Wars universe. Exactly, Big Bash. That's what I'm saying. It's so good at that. And then in came The Last Jedi, which had no freaking clue how to do that kind of politics, like what they were saying with the Jedi and everything. Just poorly done. Oh, really? Because of the Warner Bros. Discovery merger, they refused to pick it up. Oh, that's a shame. I'll have to have a look. I'm almost scared to take a look now because I feel like I'm going to want something that I'll never be able to get. So, yeah. The stunts are very good in Mission Impossible 8, Raymond. They are very good. The special effects... they were very good as well, but the thing is, the movie looks very good. It looks great the way they put it together. The craft is definitely there. The stunts are there. It's just the movie itself as a whole, I don't think it was there. It wasn't really there, I don't think. Oh, that's sad to hear, Adam. The creator spent years trying to get it picked up and got denied, all because of David Zaslav's hatred for animation. Oh, that's sad. Killick says, every time you say electric, I'll say boogie. Okay. Electric boogie. Gumball or Ed, Ed and Eddie or South Park? Oh, Ed, Ed and Eddie, without a doubt. Ed, Ed and Eddie all day long, I would say. At least Indy Takashi's fixed movie is still being made. Okay, David Zaslav hates animated stuff. Genuinely, I still think one of the most insulting things Zaslav did was burning all the costumes from the Stargirl show simply because he could. Did he burn those? Bloody hell, man. That is insane. Electrify has done a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, bud. I appreciate that. He says, by the way, I finished my first and two part of my script, but I'm saving for something special, so I can't show it. Don't worry, when you're ready, you can send it over, and if I've got time, I'll take a look. But yeah, no, that's such a shame. David Zaslav has done all that stuff, seriously. If you had to choose a lawyer, who would it be? Count Dooku, Palpatine, or Saul Goodman? I'd pick Saul Goodman, because Big Bash, Count Dooku, and Palpatine are not lawyers. They're not lawyers. That's a weird trio to put up there. Maybe Count Dooku or Palpatine, so they can do a Jedi mind trick, maybe, but you know, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird trio to bring up. Okay, guys, we're gonna end this stream in 2 minutes. So if there's any more questions you have, now's the time to ask them. Any super chats or Streamlabs chats you want to get out there, now's the time to do those. Garrett says, this is a question if you've seen it. What are y'all's thoughts on Milo Murphy's Law? I've not seen that, so I can't say. Adam Grundler says, between Dooku and Palpatine, I choose Dooku. Christopher Lee every day. No disrespect to Ian McDiamond. Yeah. Khan says, don't keep promises that you can't keep, Eric. Remember last time you said this stream would end? I remember that, yeah, but this time I'm feeling tired and my throat is getting sore. So I feel like I have to. And it has gone over 2 hours. Usually I do these streams for 2 hours. Okay, this is a weird question. Jacinda says, Eric, what is your favourite character Benedict Cumberbatch portrayed pre-Sherlock? Pre-Sherlock, I don't think he was really in anything of note. He was in something called Four Lions, which was a stupid movie. And he had a cameo in that. I think Sherlock was his first big role, and then Star Trek Into Darkness was his first Hollywood movie. So, yeah. Goat says, hot take, Fallen Kingdom is good. I can see why you'd think that. I can see why people would like it and not like it. Gotta go now. See you next week. Great stream, says Deadwolf. Take care, buddy. Thanks. I really appreciate that. Okay, then I think I'm just gonna stop it now. My throat is actually really going now, and it's actually getting very sore. I feel like I really need a glass of water. So, thanks you to everyone, as always, for joining the stream. I'll just remind you right now, I've got merch available. Link to that is in the description. So, you can, if you want to look at the other merch options I have, I will be expanding and introducing more merch eventually. But this is what we're starting off with, and then if more of these get sold, then I'll end up doing more of those as well. So this is going to be the start of it all. And then, as always, we'll definitely get more, which I mentioned. And of course, if you're interested in gaining access to my trailer reactions, you can, right there, for just $1 over on Patreon. Or you can gain access to them via YouTube memberships. And as soon as I end the stream, I'm going to upload my trailer reaction to Jurassic World Rebirth, the recent trailer. So if you want to see that literally right now, as soon as I end the stream, which is when I'm going to upload it, feel free to become a patron member. Like I said, it always helps support the channel. You'll get additional content in return. And yeah, so go nuts. Go look at the options and see what you want to choose. I've got other content options here too, and more on Patreon if you go there and take a look. So thank you everyone so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Khan, for showing up, Jacinda, Raymond, Rohan, Jacinda, Big Bash, Jacinda, Adam Grunther, Deadwolf Productions, Charleston, Goat, Super Angry, who else? Killick, The Time Shadow, all of you, thank you very much for joining. Charleston, Electrify, all of you, I love all of you. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for your donations, I really appreciate that as well. And stay tuned for more of my videos, and please be sure to share my videos and give them thumbs ups and comments as well, as that really does help. And yeah, I'll see all of you very soon. Take care.